guys, welcome to the channel. I've had a couple of questions pop up asking me about what KnA Racing meant on my last video, who's KnA, and some other things along those lines. So I figured who better to tell you guys what KnA Racing is than one of the co-founders, Andy Penske Pareti. So we're going to do a quick interview with him, and he'll tell you guys all about what KnA Racing really is. So Andy, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm Andy Pareti. I am the A in KnA Racing, KAC Cages. My partner, Keith Crowell, and I started KnA Racing and Auto after I was injured as a master mechanic and Keith was injured as a Ford tech, and we were both out of work. So we started KnA Automotive and Racing. We got into the racing part of it more for publicity than anything, and discovered that the racing was better for us than the automotive repair. So we kind of dropped the auto and started racing stock cars.
Yeah, that's the story that I heard. So can you tell them a little bit about what your first race car is, who your first driver was, things along those lines?
Sure. Our first car was Keith's old street car. It was a '69 Toyota Corona. And I was the first driver. It quickly turned out that driving was not necessarily my cup of tea. My talents were better suited behind the wall in the pit. So we hired some drivers.
All right. And your first driver was actually your Snap-on mechanic dealer, wasn't it?
He was our Snap-on dealer. His name was Lynn Cruz. Did not fare out very well. He was a supposed championship go-kart driver that, let's just say it didn't pan out. So we moved on.
And then after that, you had a neighbor that came into the racing world with you guys, Chuck or something, right?
Yep. Keith and I were struggling learning to build race cars. And Chuck McCutcheon, who is the C in KAC Cages, he and his wife were trying to get into the racing business too, and were struggling. So we just put our minds together after Chuck had a very serious accident in his race car. We figured out that we could build a better cage than what they were building. And Chuck McCutcheon helped us build the cages, and we started KAC Cages as a spin-off of KnA Racing. I would like to mention the name Gary Montag. Now, Gary was the one from whom we learned to build cages from. Gary raced in the street stock division and in open wheel modified. He was a big Pontiac guy and did very, very well for himself racing Pontiac motors. He was also the back straightaway flagman, and he was the front straightaway flagman for a while. But thanks to Gary Montag, bud, if you see this, hi, and thank you very much.
All right, and Chuck brought on a Ford Pinto. That was what he was running, wasn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
He had a Ford Pinto, and we had the '69 Toyota Corona. Yep.
All right, and at the height, the most amount of cars and drivers you had, what was that? What was it like running that many cars?
At the height of our career, we were maintaining 6 cars. A street stock, a pure stock, a modified mini, and 3 mini stocks, I believe.
Okay. And most of them all running the KnA name badge somewhere on the car.
Yep. Yep. To that, I would like to pay homage to a very dear friend of mine who has since passed away, and we lovingly called him Curtissimo. His name was Curtis Lamb, and he drove the 11X. in the mini stock. Now his son, Mike Amo, ran the 10X in the mini stock division, and his daughter Audra followed suit. Now with those three, we wound up with 2 championships back to back in mini stock, and then Audra came along and got Rookie of the Year the following year.
So
also, I would like to thank Robert Trask, who owned and drove our pure stock number 17. When we built that car, it looked like Darrell Waltrip's car.
Mm-hmm.
And then to that, we added Bill Close came along with us, and he had a street stock number 66. We also built a cage for Dennis Wilson Jr. Denny, hi, if you see this, I think of you often, bud. And he took that car to a championship. Then we had the Powder Puffs, where our wives drove Powder Puff. Our wives also worked the 50-50 ticket. Now that would be Donna Trask, Cindy McCutcheon, and my wife, Teresa. So it was a racing family thing.
And all of them drove cars too, if I remember correctly, in that Powder Puff division.
Donna? Yeah, they drove in the Powder Puff, except for Bill Close's wife, who actually went into competition with the guys, drove a fuchsia number 42 Mercury Capri.
Okay. All right. So a couple of championships in different series, up to 6 cars running out of your shop, a couple of others that are connected through the caging system and everything else. So sounds like you had a pretty good run. You got anyone you want to shout out or say hi to while we're doing this video?
Well, I can't do this without saying hi to our good friend and buddy, lovingly known as Pigman, Tom Sherrill out of Mayaca City. Hey, bud, if you're watching this, I think about you. Dennis Wilson Jr., Dennis Wilson Sr. There's just so many people. Todd Blevins, who was known as the pickup truck man, he drove our Toyota and did well with it. He got people to start paying attention to the car and our business. There's just so many people to thank along the way. The other one I want to thank is Rennie Wilbanks, who was a tech inspector and also drove a modified Mini.
All right. So last question I have for you is, what are your feelings on your son and Keith's grandson running the KnA name to this day?
Well, I have a long history with Desoto Speedway, 3 or 4 owners, and my heart is at that racetrack. And I'm honored to see the number 89 mini stock number continuing to race under you. And I wish the owners of the Freedom Factory all the best in the world. May they continue to honor and give the Speedway back its dignity. At one time, it was known as the world's fastest short track, or the South's fastest short track. And yes, I am very honored that you would take over. And I apologize to you for quitting racing just about the time you were to come along and drive the car. The other person I need to mention without fail is Timmy TT Tipover Tripplett. Timmy drove the car and was the driver who took the car to the winner's circle and won several races for me. Timmy, if you're out there and you can see this, we're still thinking about you, bud. And you take care. And other than that, that's about it, AJ.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate the interview. We're going to drop some photos of some of the cars that I found photos of for KnA Racing here at the end of the video. But thank you very much, and hope you have a wonderful day, sir.
God bless everybody, and good times still go on. I think about all my fellow racers. We were a big family.
All right. Give the channel a like and subscribe.